is my fiberweb. I am coming at you today with a Flosstube extra. I'm still going to call it Flosstube 15, but today is going to be a mid-year roundup. So I'm going to quickly run through everything I've finished so far this year. I did just recently do a finish parade, so if you want more information on any of the finishes, it will be there. I'm just going to show them quickly today. There are 15 finishes from this year. There are 3 projects that I have decided to UFO this year, so I'll talk briefly about those. And then I have just under 50 WIPs. And I was struck by the idea today that I want to go through all of my WIPs and make one pile of things I think I can finish this year, and then one pile of everything else. And I think outside of stitch-alongs that are ongoing right now and my WIP Go calls, I might just try to focus on the things I want to finish and see how many more I can get finished before the end of the year. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go through all of my WIPs. They're not in any order, and I'm just going to sort them into those 2 piles together with you. I thought it would be fun to bring you along for this sorting chaos that's going to happen. So, like I said, first of all, I'm going to go through everything I've finished this year. So I did have I'm going to do these, the finishes are going to be in order. So I had, like I said, 15 finishes, and, sorry, let me get my notes set up. I had 7 finishes in January, and I've finished at least one thing every month since then, but I think because I did my WIP parade in January, I was very motivated to get finishes on some of those things that were close, and so I'm hoping that will happen again now. Okay, so the things I finished in order this year are this Peace on Earth, small, this was a mystery stitch along from Kyoku Moroka of Gara Knits. Nope, not Gara Knits. I always say that every single time. It's just Gara. I don't even know if there is a Gara Knits. I don't know why I always say that. Anyway, Peace on Earth. And then my next finish of the year was this Hello from Liz Matthews piece that I turned into a birth announcement for my son. The pattern is called Sleepy Hollow, and I made a bunch of changes to make it less spooky and put my son's name and birth date. And then my next finish was this little Mill Hill ornament called Mushroom House. Also in January, I finished my first Mirabilia / Nora Corbett, which was Wisteria. There she is. And then I finished my Blackbird Snow Garden, which I also started in January. And my January Quaker, which is by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. Oop, that's too close. And also Winter Guest, which is this little reelless kit that uses the wool acrylic floss, and everything is half stitches and French knots and backstitch. And then in February, I finished 3 things. It was the February Quaker in that same series by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. And the second in the Blackbird Anniversaries of the Heart, which was Valentine Rose. And I also finished Poisonous Plants by the Witchy Stitcher. And then in March, I only had 1 finish, which was Hedgehog and Hyacinth by the Blue Flower. In April, I had 2 finishes. I had Needles Dance, which was by Ink Circles, Hands On Design, and Summer House Stitchworks. I love this, it's so pretty. And my biggest finish so far, not only of the year, but I think ever, which is my Dark Queen of the Earth There she is. I might show her one more time at some point when she gets fully finished. And then that brings us to May. So these, if you are a returning viewer, you've just seen, but I'm going to show them anyway. This is Dunluce Castle by Cross Stitch the Globe. This is part of the Cross Stitch of Ice and Fire booklet that was just released a few days ago that you can get a discount on if you order it soon. Check out Stephanie's Instagram or Flosstube for that. Also, if you go back to my last video, I have a giveaway if you'd like to enter to win the PDF for that. And then I have my Garden of Zig, which was the secret stitch along that I just talked about extensively in my last video. So those are my 15 finishes so far of this year. I also had 3 UFOs. The first one was Berries in Bloom, which is a free holiday pattern. I can't remember who it's from. I'll put it on the screen. But I had started it using my own colors and then somehow stored it away from the floss, and I never wrote down anywhere what I used. So I just UFO'd it. Also, like, it's a small and I didn't get very far, so I don't really think I was enjoying stitching on it. So I UFO'd that. And then I also UFO'd Castle Homecoming from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I don't even think I made it through the first clue of that last year. I think it's super cute and sweet, and I love the theme. It was just maybe not quite my style, and I sort of realized that I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it when it was done. So that one is UFO'd for now. I haven't gotten rid of it. I still have it in a project bag. I just don't have any plans to actually work on it. I think it was originally on my WIP board, and I replaced it with something else for this year. And then the third thing that I UFO'd was a mystery full coverage piece from the Cross Stitch Studio called, I don't know if it's called Fashionable Pet. It's like the mystery stitch along for this year. And that is the one where I thought that the pattern was going to be a floral pattern because that's what it looked like on the sign-up page. I didn't read close enough to see that the theme was Fashionable Pet. And so far with the clues that are out, it looks like it's a cat or a dog wearing like a hat. And so I UFO'd that. So now I am going to start going through my WIPs. Like I said, they are not in any meaningful order. They're just in several piles on my table. I might have to pause to rearrange things now and then. I already have a few things that fell on the floor. Let me grab those real quick. Some of my nicely ironed finishes were on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to start going through my WIPs, and I'm just going to sort them into could I finish it this year or not. Okay, the first one that I have is on the same fabric that I used for Hedgehog and Hyacinth, and this is, the pattern is called My Flowers, and it is by Boomerang Stitches, which is Amity from the Hathaway Stitchers. I did my own color conversion for this, and I think I only worked on this for a couple days, and I got one of the flowers done, so this isn't that big of a pattern. So could I finish this year? Absolutely. So I'm going to put this one in the could finish this year pile. Okay, next I have a full coverage piece. The fabric is giant because the project is going to be giant. I haven't measured to see if I could cut this down. I just started it because I felt the need. This is called Someplace for Me, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I think the artwork is Jenna something Maldonado. I'll put it on the screen. I can never remember the whole name. And this is how far I got on this. So I'm doing this one 1/1 full cross on a 25 count easy grid. Or it might be 28. I'll have to check. I don't remember. No way I'm going to finish this year. So this is going to start the no chance pile. Okay, next I have my Prairie Wind by Carolyn Manning. just got kind of dark and windy at my house, so I hope the light is okay. So here's Prairie Wind. I just passed 50% on this, I think, or I'm just about to. And I could totally finish this by the end of the year. If I don't work on any other full coverage and I pull this out, I could definitely finish it. And I would like to. I have a bunch of Carolyn Manning. Whoa, that was weird. I have a bunch of Carolyn Manning charts in my stash because she has such fantastic sales all the time. So I would really like to finish this one so I can start another one, because I do not want to have more than one on the go at the same time. Because if I open those floodgates, then I'll start all of them, and I don't want to do that. So this is going to go in the could finish this year pile. Next, I have one of my Long Dog samplers. This is Froth and Bubble. Where did I put that board? Okay, sorry for the thunking. This is Froth and Bubble by Long Dog Samplers. This is a band sampler, so this is the full width, and then it just goes down and has a bunch of levels. And this is my Long Dog leap year start this year. So I would like to get this to 25% by the end of the year. I'm not going to finish it. But I don't want to like store it away for the rest of the year, because I'm at about 10% now, and I would like to get to 25. So this one is going to go in its own pile. Next I have Of Dragons and Apples. This is from Maria of Quaternion Creations. That's upside down. Here it is. This is one of my WIP Go calls this month, so I'm going to put at least 5 days in on it. I had this on my list of things I thought I could finish at the beginning of the year, but there is still quite a lot of stitching in this. And I also have I have another ongoing stitch along from her, from the same designer, that I would like to keep up with and finish this year. So this one is going to go in the only if I finish the Fairy Tale Forest pile. This might be harder than I thought. Okay, next I have Japanese Garden, which is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit. Ooh, that glare is bad. So, can I? Oh, that's okay. Yeah. I'm not going to finish this year. I'm still up in the little top corner, and I'm working on the Crunchy Kit Ada, and I'm doing it 2/1 on this 16 count fabric. Is that what it is? It looks like 16 count to me. Yeah, 16 count light blue Ada. So that one is a no. Where are my no's going? No. Okay. Next, I have Welcome to the Forest by Country Cottage Needleworks. This is a collection of 7 patterns that you buy separately, and then they provide a border chart. So this is the full width, and there will be the blocks below this come in pairs, so there will be 3 more rows with 2 blocks each underneath this. And I'm definitely not going to finish this year. This is on 32 count lamb's wool linen, which I think might be the called for, and I'm using all the called for floss. Next, I have the 324 chart by Works by ABC. This one I was planning on keeping up with and stitching 1 motif a day, or 7 in a week, and obviously I did not do that. So this one is fun to work on, but I just got distracted by other things. So this one is on 16 count Ada that I just had in stash, and obviously I'm using all the called for 324 different colors of DMC. That one's going to go in the not this year pile. And then next I have my Modern Folk Embroidery Reaching Skyward stitch along from last year? 2 years ago? So I already had this one out this year for WIP though. I think in January this one got called. And that is my progress. It's so pretty, but it is 1/2 on 40 count. I'm not sure what fabric this is. It's sort of like tan but with a pinky hue, which is not really coming through on screen, but it's very pretty. And I just have these 3 DMC shades that I'm using. So the chart calls for 2, and I added in the like rose gold color just for some accents whenever I feel like it. So I am not going to be finishing this one this year. I already talked about this one. Let's grab some more. Oh, I think I'm going to show you my project bags too, because I don't usually show them. So far it's only been projects that I have like rolled up that I keep in my armoire, or the little Amazon zippy bags. So sorry if you can hear the noise outside. Right before I started, someone came by to fix our sidewalks, like to grind down the pieces of the sidewalk that were uneven, so it was super loud, like jackhammer loud, and now someone has got a leaf blower, I think. So hopefully that is not too bothersome. Okay, so let me show you this bag. It's adorable. Teacups, teapots. I love the colors on this. And I don't know who this is by. I'll try to look it up. I don't see any like maker tag on here. But this is holding my Ink Circles Tea Time project. And here's how far I got. So let me hold these up next to each other. I got a pretty good chunk of this done. I'm probably not 50% yet, but maybe 30%. And I would like to finish this one this year. I did change out some of the colors, like in this teapot I used, you can see, I used pink and added in some light blue and green. But otherwise I think I'm using the called for colors or close approximations of those. So this one is going in the yes pile for this year. Next, this is a ragtag quilt art bag with this cute scissor fabric, and it is actually quilted, which is nice. And in this lives my AH to EE that looks like this. It's a reproduction of an 1806 Quaker sampler. And I am doing mine with leftover NPI silks from that Sleepy Hollow piece that I did by Liz Matthews. And here's my start. This was one of my New Year's new starts, and I think I worked on this for like 1 day or maybe 2 to get that first motif done, and that's all the further I got. I will, if anyone wants to know, just ask me, and I have notes for most of this stuff somewhere, so if you're interested in the actual fabric or anything, any details that I don't provide, just let me know and I will find them for you if I have them. So this one, what do we think? I don't think I'm going to finish it this year. So it's the in-between pile. So I have a definitely not finishing this year, a yes I think I can, and then ones to pull from if I finish the stuff in front of them in line. So 3 piles. Okay, this is a project bag that I made myself using some strips of fabric that my mom gave me. I sewed it very crooked, and it's got red on the inside. And this is another Ink Circles. This is assembly required. I love this one. I got the called for variegated DMC to stitch this, and I'm using a remnant of something or another. I think this might be chalkboard left over from Poisonous Plants. And I did one little hand. And this one is going in the finish this year pile. It is small, and it is fun, and it is only one color, so it's easy. Okay, next, this is a farmhouse needleworks bag, spooky trees, and then jack-o'-lanterns and spiderwebs on the inside. There's the farmhouse needleworks. Oh, and it has a little, you can't see, it has a bat and a pumpkin charm. Bat, pumpkin, very cute. This is my Greenhouse of Oddities by Lola Crow. Let's see, I don't know if I need the board for this one, but I'll use it anyway. Here's how far I got. So I was doing really well, and I thought I was going to be able to finish the frame before the first clue came out, and I didn't. So then I jumped in, I think this, where this plant is, was the first clue. I could be wrong. And then I just got discouraged and got behind and put it away. So I have been sort of wanting to work on this since everyone is working on their Deadly Aquarium now. But I haven't. So I'm going to put this in the not this year pile. Next, I have another one that you have seen recently if you've been watching. Oh, let me show the bag. This is a Sherry So Sweet bag. There's her tag. And it has, oh, I have to take the project out to show you. It has a patchwork pumpkin on the inside and a little pumpkin charm on the zipper pull. So this is Cinnamon Stars by Plum Street. And I just had this out for WIP Go last month. This was one of my calls in May, and I was supposed to work on it for 5 days, and I only worked on it for 1. So I don't think it has changed since I showed you last. There's a little ort there. And this one is going to go in the not this year pile. Oh, I didn't say, of my 49, I think it's 49 WIPs that I have, 25 of them I have started this year. This is Warm Winter Woolens by Little House Needleworks. Here is my progress. Oh, where's my board again? Keep covering up my board. There's my progress on Warm Winter Woolens. I definitely want to finish this one this year. I don't know if I might not pull her out until it's closer to winter time again, maybe after Halloween. Okay, this is a bag by the 805 Stitcher, one of my Halloween bags. The inside has spiders, purple spiders. And this is, well, there's also a little cauldron charm. This is my Stephen King house, which I will put up on the screen because it's a digital pattern. And here's where I'm at. I did have this out this year already, and when I pulled it out, I think I only had part of this box done, so I started working on more of the black outline. I do not think I will finish this one this year. It does feel like it goes fast when I work on it, but that's a lot of stitching. So this is going to go in the if I finish some other Halloween stuff pile. Next, this is another 805 Stitcher bag. These pretty woodland fairies and some creatures, and then you can't see. It's vinyl front, and the inside just has an orange, like peachy orange polka dot fabric. And this is holding my White Winter Moth by Kathy Barrick. And this is another one that I started a long time ago. I think like Cam the Stitcher started a stitch along for this, and I had already started mine, but even that wasn't enough motivation to get too much progress on it. So I started in the center on the moth, which maybe wasn't the best idea because of all of that white stitching. So last time I pulled it out, I started working on this motif, which was more fun. I would love to finish this piece this year, but I don't think I'm going to, so it's going to go in the not this year pile. Okay, next I have another bag that I made. I tried to do my own patchwork with This is like, I don't know what you call it. Like the fabric squares all came together, pre-cut. I don't know what you call it. Like a charm pack or something. And then I use this inside lining. Most of the fabric I have is from my mom, but I bought this. This is my Beezy Spring by Cottage Garden samplings. And here's how far I got on her. So I had this for WIP Go this year too, and I finished the bee skep. I think the bee was already done, but that was pretty much it. So I still have these, all three of the big sunflowers, and then the crown and the queue at the top. And spring is already over this year, so I think this is going to go in the not this year pile, because I probably won't work on it again until next spring, since I already had it called for WIP Go. Even though it's not that big, it's still a lot of stitching. Okay, and then this is a giant, like square-shaped bag that I got from somebody on Etsy. I do not remember who. And this is holding another piece that did come out this year already for WIP Go. This is my Winter Gathering from Dimensions. This is not a gold collection kit, it's just a regular Dimensions kit. This one is still in print, I think easy to get. And when I pulled it out, I worked on this whole tree, and I started working on this tree here, and I also brought this branch all the way across. And I think I worked a little bit on filling in the birds. Like, I think this guy is new. But I'm probably not going to finish this year. So it's going in the no pile. So I keep all of my WIPs in a storage ottoman, like a long skinny bench shaped one, which they slot perfectly in. And it has a divider in the middle, so half is my WIPs and then half is kits that I have, or like projects I've kitted up myself. And then in the cubes that I have back behind this armoire on the other side, I keep out the WIPs I'm planning to work on like this month. So that would be WIP Go calls and any stitch alongs and any other stuff that I have going on. So what I'm planning on doing is all the ones that are not this year, I'm going to put in the ottoman. And then I'll also put the maybe pile in there. And then all the ones that I would like to finish this year, I'm going to keep out on the shelf. And I might even try working on them monogamously in between WIP Go calls until they're finished. So like start on the one that's closest to a finish first. But we'll see. Those are lofty goals for a whole 6 months. Alright, this one is in a boring Amazon bag, map of Hawk Run Hollow. I have a bunch of the Hawk Run pieces in stash, and this is the only one that I have started. This one I think is on a 40 count. I don't remember. A 40 count something. And this is how far I got. I did also have this one already out for WIP Go this year. And I'm not going to finish it, so this is going in the no pile. Okay. Another Amazon bag. This is Dreamsicle's Leisure Arts kit called Rainbow Dreams. I feel like I had this one out this year too. Maybe not. I just have a creepy little face. So that's perfect. I think I did work on this because the face was even more creepy because it had less details. But I don't think I'm going to finish this one this year. Alright. Another Amazon bag. This one I'll have to put a picture in because I only have digital charts. This is called Pixie Lane, and this is a stitch along from Pine Needles, Utah. So there are 5 little pixie houses, and I found this stitch band, which was perfect. So I still have 3 houses left. I think the next one is like a log, and then I don't remember what the last 2 are. I would like to finish this one this year. So I'm going to put that in the yes pile, and I'm definitely not using all the called for that. I swapped out some close approximations. Next, this is a pattern that I have in Punch Needle and Primitive magazine. It is a blue flower chart. Janine did a series of these charts with like this wrought iron looking heart for the 4 seasons, and then she did an extra one called Hearts for Pam, I think. I don't remember what it was called. Anyway, this is the spring one, and all 4 of them are in Punch Needle and Primitive, which I subscribed to for a while, and when you subscribe you get access to all the digital copies, so I have all of them. And I originally started this for Katie the Novel Stitcher's Best Bunnies Stitch Along, I think. So that's why I got the bunnies in. And this is 1/2 on a 40 count something. I think this is Oaken, maybe? And again, I could finish this one this year, but spring is done, so I'm probably not going to. So this is going to go in the maybe pile. Another vintage kit. This is a Wonder Art kit. It's just called Welcome. Very retro 70s vibes. And here's how far I am. Using all of the kit materials for this, which looks like a 14 count Aida. And I'm not sure what the threads are. They came, like you had to separate them yourselves, but the colors are super obvious, so I just kept them all together and put them on this little binder ring to keep them from getting knotted up. So it's basically one floss drop for all of the colors. And this one I could totally finish this year. Okay, this one I don't think I've even showed on my channel because I started it and it was like in between floss tubes and I think I forgot about it. Here it is. This is We Spring by Heart in Hand. This one is interesting because all of the colors, all of the called for colors are Gentle Art sampler threads, even though some of them are used for like 10 stitches. So I said, yeah, no. And I chose to do the DMC except for the tree. So I did use cherry bark, which is the called for, so that the tree would have some variegation. And my cherry bark is much redder than the one in the model. And I just worked on this for like one day. And that is how far I got. So you can see this is, oops. The model is a much darker brown, but that's okay. I'm okay with the tree being more reddish brown. And then the other chart that I have in here, which I have not started, but I want to put on the same fabric, is this Country Cottage Needleworks Spring Birds. I think this one I saw Laura of Stitching by the Shore finish, and then I wanted to do it too. And it will be perfect on this fabric. So I'll start that one after I finish We Spring. Okay. This is another vintage Dimensions kit. I started this one at the beginning of this year, and I love it. So if you were with me in the beginning, you may have remembered this. This is Woodland Babies. It's a Dimensions kit from 1986, and the artwork is by Linda K. Powell. And I saw this on eBay, and I thought it was so adorable. And it was like, you know, $10 or something. So I got it, and I believe I started this the day that it showed up in the mail. I started it. And I got one critter done, which was the little frog. And I think my plan at the beginning of the year was to pull this out every month and try to do like one critter at a time, and I only worked on it once. So the frog is one of the smallest critters on here. Like obviously the bunny and the deer and the raccoon and even the duck are going to take a lot longer. Look at this turtle. I can't. He's like going to give the deer a kiss. Okay. Next I have this kit, Dimensions Gold Collection Chickadees in Spring. This is one of the petites. I don't even know which way is up. This way or this way. Hopefully I started it with the fabric oriented correctly. Must be this way. So that one is not going to happen this year. Alright, here's another ragtag quilt art bag. This one I got relatively recently. It's got some like gold leaf looking fabric for the lining. And this is, so I mentioned one of my UFOs this year was the fashionable pet themed stitch along from the Cross Stitch Studio, and this was their stitch along last year, which the theme was floral. I think the theme was in the garden. So I have one page done and I'm working on the second page. And this one, I remember I was doing sort of cross-country with like the colors and the letters, and then filling in using a parking method with the background colors, which are very confetti heavy. Like, look at all those different colors in there. And it's not just 2 or 3 different colors either, it's like 12. So I still like this one. It has a giant peppermint rose in the middle. Hopefully I'll put up a picture already of what it looks like. So I'm not going to finish it this year, for sure. So I'm going to put it away. Next I have a newer start. This is the Herbalist Stitch Along from World on a String by Dara. I just started this last month, I think, and I was trying to catch up. So I have done 4 of the motifs. I think half of the boxes around are already released now, so the whole row along the bottom has been released, I think. And then it goes, I'm assuming, up this side and across the top, and then there's a big scene in the middle. So I'm still behind quite a bit, but this goes really quickly. And I do want to catch up, so this is going in the yes pile for this year. Next I have another one that I have shown recently, which is my Spring Forest scrapbook from Lindy Stitches and Blue Flower. I started this with Amber of Rogue Mama Stitcher and Mary of Daydream Stitcher. There is a hashtag if you are also stitching it, please jump in. It's just Spring Forest Scrapbook Stitch Along, or SAL. So I outlined, I was going to do all the boxes first, but then I wanted to start these flowers. And this is the box that has raccoons in it for Raccoon June. And this one I'm going to keep out because I just started it and I definitely want to keep going. Will I finish it this year? I don't know, but it's going to stay out. Next, this is a Teresa Kogut fabric, but it is a ragtag quilt art bag. Another one that is quilted. And this is my Forest Fairy Tale, which I've also just shown. This is the current ongoing stitch along from Maria at Quaternion Creations. So same designer as the Dragons and Apples one. And this is the one that I would like to keep up with. Clue 2 just came out, and it is this top corner over here. So this is in the yes pile. Next, I have a brand new project bag that I just got from Kaylee Tent Stitch, and it is amazing. It has these cute mice. They have fruits and veggies. They have bicycles. They're living their best little mice lives. There's a sweet little strawberry and a cat charm. This is holding my Long Dog Saga that I just started. So these stitches are teeny tiny. I'm doing them 1/1 full cross on a 28 count linen. This is Moonstone by Fiber on a Whim. And I am using this Silks for You floss. Oh, the color looks so much better today than it did on my last video. So it's upside down. But I just started this because Andrew, the runner stitcher, keeps showing his, and every time he does, I go into a trance where I can't think about anything else but starting it. So I finally did. I'm definitely not going to finish this year. He did his start for long dog leap years, so he's got 4 years to finish his. And I think he's staying on track, which is still crazy for that one because it's huge. Okay, I dropped some of the floss. Okay. Alright. Excuse me, I gotta reach some more. Okay, here's another 805 Stitcher bag. I love this fabric. It's also like retro and super happy and fun. And this is holding a Satsuma Street piece that I'm working on. This was the 4 elements stitch along that Jody did a couple years ago. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I bought a kit that has all of the Cosmo floss, so this is my first time using Cosmo floss. And here's how far I got. So it's 4 elements, and it makes a big circle. I'll put it in a picture. So it started with water. And this is fun to work on, even though it's on the black linen. I don't really mind working on it as long as there's some good light. I don't know if it's 28 or 32 count, but I'm definitely doing 2/2. And I have enjoyed the Cosmo floss so far. And I also got this into Pattern Keeper, which helps. So I don't really know why I haven't been working on it too much. But I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it this year, so I'm going to put it in the middle backup pile. Alright, next I have, this is another 805 Stitcher bag with these beautiful butterflies and or moths. And the inside has a pinky polka dot. And this is my Study in Pink by the Artsy Housewife, which I started with Hannah of Microbiologist Makes. And I just worked on this once, and I got the start of this little flower in. I'm using it looks like I did do some conversions on my colors. I don't remember if I'm using all the called for. No, I don't remember if I'm using any of the called for. I know I'm using a Cottage Garden Threads in here for the green, which is not called for, and I have a purple Oversois silk in here, which is not called for. So maybe I just did close approximation from stash for the ones I didn't have. This one I do not think I'm going to finish this year, and I do have one more start planned for the end of this month, June 30th. Milka of Mega Stitches and I are going to start a different Artsy Housewife piece, which is the Giant Butterflies piece that she just came out with recently. It's free on her Patreon if you want to go get it and join us. That will bring me to 50 WIPs if I don't finish anything. Okay, next I have another quilted bag that has, let me take the project out so you can see. It's a vinyl front bag, but it has the same it has the same Teresa Kogut fabric as that other bag that I showed you. I've got floss falling out of here. And you can see it's quilted. And this one is taller than average, it's like more square. And living in here is my blue flower in Praise of Pollinators, which I have also been showing a lot recently because I've been working on it. I've decided I'm not going to pressure myself to keep up with Lality Stitch's stitch along, but I am still going to try to finish this year, so I'm going to keep it out. Okay. Next one is, oh, let me show you the bag. This is another Halloween bag. I love that fabric. I don't know if I know who this bag is from. It doesn't, I don't think there's a tag anywhere that says who it's by. And let me take this out so I can show you. It came with, or I purchased it with a little coordinating thread bed. So it snaps closed and it just has felt on the inside, so you can store a needle if you want, and then also your like started threads so they don't get all ratty. And this is holding Jack's Bash by Plum Street. This way? Nope. This is one of my WIP Go calls this month. So it's going to stay out for that reason, but I don't think I'm going to finish it this year. Because I do not have much of a start. I did a top left start like I normally do, and I love working on this. I'm using all the called for colors. I don't know what the fabric is, but it's a 40 count. I think it might be the same fabric that I have my Modern Folk stitch along on, Reaching Skyward, but I don't know. Okay. Next, this is a Penny and Tunny bags. Not a vinyl front, just I don't know what you call it. Just a regular flat zip bag. This is holding, I will have to put in a picture. This is a Jeanette Douglas piece. I think it's called Year of Mini Bouquets. And I got this when it was being released as a free stitch along. So she released one of these every month during, I don't know if it was 2022 or what. So I finished January through May and I'm working on June. So I just pulled this out for this year because I'm going to try to finish the rest of the bouquets in their respective months. So this is a yes for this year. This one I'll have to put a picture of too. This is my Sprouting Lupine piece called The Unicorn's Garden. I absolutely love this piece. I kind of don't want it to end, but I do think I'm going to finish it this year. Because I'm already 75% done, I think. And it is gorgeous, it is beautiful, it is wonderful. I love it so much, it makes me so happy. Next I have another Penny and Tunny bag. This one has some springy, summery bicycles. And this is my Nora Corbett Pisces piece, which I started earlier this year. I started this shortly after I finished Wisteria. And my birthday was in March, so I am a Pisces. And she's not very big, so it's going quickly. And this is the one I think I mentioned but last time I pulled her out that I might change the colors of the fish to include some corally orange instead of just the teals and blues. And then that makes her match better with, I think it's Aquarius, also in this series. It has like the same teals but also has orange and yellow, I think. So that one is yes, I would like to finish it this year. Next I have this Dimensions kit, The Finery of Nature. This one also has a sad start. I will need the board for this. It is on black Ada, which is not super fun to work with because it is also very stiff. But that's how far I got. So I started, you're not going to be able to tell where I am. I started on the box with the eggs in the nest and the dragonfly. Because I did a center start and then decided to go to the top right. So this one is it's full of color, constant color changes. It has a metallic thread that you use all over the place. It has a bunch of French knots, I think, or are they just, I can't tell. I think it has a bunch of French knots. So that one is definitely not getting finished this year. This is Absorbing the Earth and Sky. The artwork is by Aya Trier, I think. This one is charted by Unconventional Cross. And I bought this kit from them for my birthday, and that was a couple years ago. And then I started it, I don't remember when. But yeah, the sky has all these pretty pastel colors, and I just got down to this like little bit darker blue. Anyway, not going to finish this year, but I really like working on it. And Unconventional X gives you full skeins of DMC, and they give you a very generous amount of fabric, and they give you a little tin with a coordinating needle minder and a set of needles. So if you ever want to buy a kit from them, I would recommend it. I enjoyed mine thoroughly. Okay, next I have Definitely I Want to Finish This Year. I just showed this on my last Flosstube. This is called, where did I put that board? This is called Why Do When You Can Don't. It is by Screaming Heart Design, and I am using 22 count Hardanger, and I'm stitching 1/2 with this crazy rayon embroidery thread that is definitely not for cross stitch, but I'm doing it anyway because there are no rules and I can do what I want. So I will definitely finish this one this year. Okay, I think this is my last Ink Circles WIP. This is Elemental Dragons Water, and I just started this one with my friends Judith and Kate from Making Things with Strength. I'm using this variegated blue and purple DMC. The color is 4240, and here is my start. I'm doing this on an 18 count Ada from Crazy Hamster, and I love it so far. I should put this one in the bag with assembly required because it's similar and I don't have a bag for that one. This is Away We Ride by Blackbird. I started this one with Elizabeth of Savory Sewing. I love this chart. I also gave away a copy. And the person who won that has started a Flosstube. Her channel is The Shaky Stitcher. And I think she just put out her second video. So her second video is called Flosstube 1 because her first one was a WIP rate. But go check her out. She started this as soon as she got it, so I think she's already farther than me. She also started on the house, and her house is either done or almost done. She will be linked in the description. Okay, 2 left. This is another 805 stitcher bag, and this is cool because the fabric is like a photograph of embroidery, and then the inside has this hot pink flower print. And this is, oh, I don't have the picture here. This is my only other Nora Corbett / Mirabilia piece that I have on the go right now. And I got this one on I got it on eBay, and it didn't have the photo still with the chart. So I'll put a picture up of what it looks like. But this is Scent of Old Roses. Which way does it go? I think it goes this way. So I started this on my birthday, and I only worked on it for a couple days, I think. This fabric is from Under the Sea Fabrics, and it was one of the called for fabrics for Dark Queen of the Earth. But I bought it afterwards, after I had already started mine, and I'm going to put this beautiful lady on. And she's not very big, like, that's all the fabric that she needs. So for a Mirabilia, she's pretty small. She does have, let me move this out of the way. She does have some beads and cryneck, and then also she uses this whisper thread because she has like a fluffy edge around the shawl she's wearing, I think. Oops. So I don't think I'll finish her this year. She will come out if I finish Pisces by Nora Corbett. So she's going in the backup pile. Okay, last one. This is my last WIP, pretty sure. Every time I do something like this, I realize as soon as I stop filming that I missed some spot where I've been keeping WIPs. So hopefully I didn't do that. I haven't been counting, so I don't know. We'll see. This is my Spring Quaker by Leela Studio. And I started this with Alex of Salix Stitches on Instagram for her birthday this year. There's a group chat on Instagram, and they do Zooms that I haven't been able to attend yet, but everyone I think is much farther than I am. But I love mine so far. So I will not put this away for the rest of the year. I'm going to keep it out. I don't think I will finish it, but I'm going to keep it out. I also recently got Leela's Halloween Quaker. I would like to start that this year if I can get some of these other things finished before Halloween time, which I should be able to, because a bunch of the things I just showed you were pretty small. It should be easy to finish, right? So I will have to go through after this. I will update. I'll put on the screen right now how many I have in my can finish this year pile, and let's see how completely ridiculous of a goal that is. And then I will put how many in the like definitely not. Like I'll put how many I have in each category on the screen so you can see. And I'm sort of hoping that putting this video out there into the world will motivate me to try to stick with this at least for, you know, a month until I get some other bright idea and change my mind completely. So yeah, again, what I'm going to try to do for the rest of the year is still do my WIP Go goals, which I have kept up with everything this year so far, with the exception of cinnamon stars, which maybe I will want to make up those 4 days when it gets closer to fall. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll end up replacing it with something else at some point. But other than that, I have met every single goal in its month so far this year. So I would like to continue to try to do that for the rest of the year. And then the ongoing stitch-alongs like the Herbalist and Forest Fairy Tale. And is there another one? Whatever. I'm going to keep those out. Oh, the Pollinator stitch-along. I'm going to keep those out and see if I can finish those up by the end of the year as well. And then aside from that, I'm going to try picking one project and just stitching it until it's done. So aside from WIP Go and ongoing stitch-alongs, be monogamous, which isn't really the same as monogamous, but it's my version. I'm going to try it. So I will let you know what project I pick to work on first. I'll probably post about it on Instagram, and then obviously you'll hear about it on my next regular Flosstube, which I just released Flosstube 14 yesterday. So it'll probably be a couple weeks. I don't know when I'm going to post this, so this is all just random bibble babble. But I usually list all of my WIPs and finishes and new starts in the description box. I don't think I'm going to do that today because there's 60 some things, 70 maybe, if you include the finishes. So if you have questions about any of the projects that I showed or the fabric or the floss that I used, just let me know here or on Instagram, or you can email me and I will do my best to find the answer. If you are still with me, thank you for going through that possibly ridiculous exercise with me, but we'll see how it works out. This is all in that spirit of let's work on the stash that we have and the things we have already purchased and see what we can get done. So hopefully that doesn't mean that my floss tubes become boring. I don't think they will be. I think I'll still have a lot to show. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know how WIP Go is going for you this year if you're doing it, or if you have any grand plans for the second half of the year. I know a lot of people are doing mid-year WIP parades now, so it's just a nice time to sort of take a step back and reset and figure out what you want to do for the rest of the year. So that's what I'm doing. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you got a lot of something done while you were watching/listening. And I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.